How's my hair? Did it myself. Hi, it's you guys again. I was noticing on Martin Guitar's website that Chris Martin was talking about 100 years ago. 100 years ago today, because he's facing a pandemic. Martin Guitars, by the way, the factory's closed. They're in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is one of the top 5 states in the COVID contest. Ugh. So, speaking of that, 100 years ago, Chris was talking about all the way back to the Civil War. In the 1880s, there was actually a virus that affected horses. The main form of transportation, it was wiping out horses all over. And comparing, like, have we seen anything like this? Yeah, we've seen quite a bit. 100 years ago is like women weren't allowed to vote 100 years ago. I should say that again, because that's, yeah, like crazy. 100 years ago, the tallest building in the world was the Eiffel Tower. Anywhere, New York, LA, Chicago, the tallest building only 100 years ago. This is kind of neat because this is one of the first Martin D45. So it's not a D, this is a style 1. In the old days, Martin made 5, which is a teeny little thing, a 4.5, a 4, a 2.5 was kind of the standard range, but the 1 was the jumbo. And they would put pearl trim usually on the smaller guitars because it was for women. Poor things, they couldn't vote, so they were at home playing guitar. And so the 1 is usually reserved for fellas when they put this style 45 with all this abalone hand inlaid all the way around, even there, that was like, wow, they only made 5 of these in 1904. 5, that's it. Style 1, the biggest guitar of the era, there's 5 of these 45s. This is called a 145. And man, I'm talking about a piece of history, of American history. We got in a 1951 00028. I have another one coming out of the shop. We've been working on it. It needs a neck set. This Brazilian rosewood beauty is fantastic, a good investment, a long-term investment. We'd look at trades on this, but that is a 00028 Brazilian rosewood. This is something that you probably haven't seen before, a hand-carved arch top, carved back, all flamey maple, gorgeous, clean, and a brilliant jazz guitar. For those of you staying at home that want to play jazz, study jazz, there's also a McCarty guard. Now this isn't 100 years old, which I don't know why I got into that 100-year-old thing, but I did because Molly's standing on a ladder and she has a camera in her hand and I really don't know what else to say. Wait, maybe this is 100 years old. Yeah, just about. This is also arch top, but a round hole arch top, a very narrow window of time. Now, what this is good for with the arch top, the arch top dissipates any resonant frequencies. Yeah, whatever. And then it projects more. So these arch top guitars have a tendency all to come out all the way out to you and back. And you guys in the back can hear it just fine. The player might not, but these are great sounding guitars. I've had this here a while and I don't care because I walk in every morning and I look at it and it's gorgeous Gibson sculpture. Do you have that at home? No, you don't. You could, but you don't. Also, 100 years ago, the gateway drug to guitars is the ukulele. The Panama Pacific Expo came at the World's Fair in San Francisco. Everything Hawaiian went crazy 100 years ago. In 1919 was the Panama Pacific Expedition. Martin had to actually add a spot onto they had to rebuild the factory out because ukuleles were like, whoa, everybody wanted a ukulele. And you can imagine the guy in the raccoon coat trying to impress his girl, you know. like that, picture me in a raccoon coat. I know, I would probably wear a raccoon coat. But this unique, beautiful thing is from our friends at Kamaka. Beautiful book-matched koa. Koa only grows in the Hawaiian Island chains. And yes, it's not 4, it's 6 strings. Ponder that a little bit. 6 strings. So we want you to be not bored at home. We want you to know that there's still guitars to buy. Guitars are doing really well. The factories are all closed. A lot of them, like Martin, will be closed for a while until this pandemic settles down, until the curves flatten. We also want to remind you that if you look up Typhoid Mary, for instance, you'll see why people stay home. Typhoid Mary was a cook, and she kept working for rich people, and they all kept dying. And then she'd go to the next job because those last people died. And then she would spread typhoid all over. The story is easy to put in Wikipedia. If you wonder why you're home, it's because of Typhoid Mary. Also, Philadelphia, since we're talking about Martin guitars. Wait, was I talking about Martin guitars? Did you see this? Philadelphia had a war bond parade, and that was for war bonds for World War I, and that was 100 years ago today that we had the last pandemic. That's the Spanish flu. That was a whole nother thing. We won't get into it, but more guitar. See, guitar makes you forget all these things. Suddenly, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, I forgot. Wait for it. Guitars are a blast. Even though we're kind of running out of them, we're happy to hear from you guys. Or again, we're not open officially. This room is kind of closed, but if you could look around here, there's lots of guitars we have. It's all on the website. We're happy to take in trades. We are also, and I'll say this quite seriously, we are looking for Sunburst Gibsons. Any Sunburst Gibsons, we're a buyer on Sunburst Gibsons. Old or new, Sunburst in color, we would love to find Sunburst Gibsons. How's that? Is that good for a video? We'll let you guys go now, but thank you.